Hello beautiful people, let's get started. My eyes are already primed with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Original and the Fenty Soft Matte Foundation Primer. Today we're going to be dipping into the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette, and the first shade I'm picking up is going to be In Case You Missed It. I'm focusing the shade above the crease, in the crease, and on the outer corner of the lid, just elongating that shape. With the shade Feel Free, I'm going to be using this to deepen in my crease and also winging it out a little bit just to help with that fox eye shape we're going for. And I'm just going in with the fluffier side of my brush and just making sure that I blend out that shade. On the lid, I'm going to be placing the shade Dreammaker, and I'm leaving just the inner third portion of the lid open for another shade, which is going to be the shade right here called Catch Me. So when I put this down, I realized that it looked a little bit ashy, so I went in with the shade Dreammaker and added just a little bit on top to add a little bit more color to it. Next, picking up the shade Meadow, I'm going to be focusing this on the outer third of the lid, so I'm just doing this to have more of a gradation overall on the lid. And then of course just going back into the crease shade and just making sure it stays defined and everything is blended out. Next, I'm picking up the shade Rubbish from my Melt Cosmetics Rust Stack, and I'm going to be focusing this on top of the shade we put slightly above the crease. So I didn't like how saturated that color was, so I'm going in with this shade since it's close to my complexion to kind of tone down that color. Moving on to the face, I'm going in with my Fenty Beauty matchsticks in the shade Suede and placing this on all the areas of my face that I want to highlight. And you know, there's a part of me that's like, is there something I'm forgetting? Was there something I was supposed to do before this? And yeah, that's when it hit me, guys. I forgot my color corrector. So I'm going in with my e.l.f. color correcting stick in the shade Deep and placing this on all the areas where I want to even out my complexion because of my hyperpigmentation. So I'm just going in with my beauty blender that's damp with water and making sure that I blend all of that out before I go back into my highlight. And now I'm just finishing up all the areas I want to highlight on my face. And y'all know what it is, I'm such a creature of habit, going in with my Fenty Beauty matchsticks in the shade Espresso to Contour. And I'm just going in with my beauty blender that's still damp with water. I'm blending out my contour first and then I'll go into the highlight. So what I've been doing lately is I blend out my highlight after my contour. I just like to let it sit on the skin because good old Auntie Jackie, aka Jackie Ina, taught me that when you leave your concealer or your highlight on, it helps with coverage. Like you leave it on for a little and then you blend it out later. So I've been trying out that technique and I'm not too mad at it. And then also on top of that, I've been using a lighter hand to blend out with my beauty blender because I feel like I'm a little heavy-handed with it and I don't want to lift too much product, so I've been going in with a more lighter hand when I go in to blend. And now I'm just taking my ABH foundation stick in the shade Ebony and placing that in between the highlight and contour to just even out my complexion. And again, just going in and blending everything out. Also, another thing I've been trying is I'm being more specific about my product placement. I used to kind of put it in an area and then blend it out to a certain part, but what I'm trying to do now is just put it in an area, and the only thing I really focus on is blending out the edges as opposed to blending it out to a certain spot. And now I'm just picking up my KVD Vegan Beauty Translucent Powder. I'm picking it up with the Beauty Blender, and I'm going to be setting all the areas of my face that I highlighted. So I kind of go in with like not too much of a heavy hand. Like the amount that I picked up, I'm still using it on the chin and then the portion underneath my cheek. And I kind of just like to press it into the skin. Also, another thing I started doing is I like to kind of bake on my nose area. So as you can see, like I kind of put a lot of powder there on the nose, and then I'll blend out all the other areas on my face where I have the powder, and then that will be the last spot. The nose will be the last spot that I blend in the powder on the nose. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I would definitely say my face makeup is my weakest area in terms of doing my overall makeup. So this is definitely a part where you're probably gonna see me change in a lot of things that I do. So, you know, just bear with me. I'm figuring it out, and I'm gonna let y'all know what I do when I'm doing it. So now I'm going in with my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deep, and I'm going to be pressing it into the skin. I don't mind using kind of like a circular motion underneath the face because I don't want a harsh line there, and I just want to make sure everything is blended out. And I'll also do it on the forehead, like closer towards the hairline, because I just need it smooth, y'all. I just need it smooth. And once again, going in with another usual, I'm using my NYX Suede Lip Liner in the shade Club Hopper, and I actually like to use this shade in my waterline. Then I'm going to be dipping into the shade Feel Free, and I'm going to be keeping this as close as possible to the lower lash line and just connecting up to the upper portion of the lid where I already laid down that shade, and just making sure that everything is connecting from the top lid space to the bottom. And with the shade Rubbish from the Melt Cosmetics Rust Stack, I'm just going in and diffusing out the lower lash line, making sure that everything is blended out. And then for liner, the KVD Tattoo Liner in the shade Trooper Black. So for the first portion of the liner, I'm keeping it super thin, and then I bring the thickness, like I make the liner a little bit thicker, kind of halfway through the lash line, if that makes sense. Like when I get halfway through my lid space on the lash line, making it a little bit thicker, and then I focus on extending the line of my lower lash line as if I were to continue a straight line from that point, and then I'll connect the upper part of the wing liner to the top of the ending point that was following the line of the lower lash line. I hope this is making sense, guys. Y'all see me, right? So, and then from there, that's kind of where I'll start to like bring more thickness into the wing liner. So I think the thing about Fox Eyes that really makes it Fox Eyes is that you're elongating the actual liner, like the wing part, but then also paying attention, making sure that the outer portion is a little bit thicker, but then the inner portion that's closer towards like the inner corner of the lid space is a lot thinner. It's definitely one of those things where you'll see me going back and forth, because if you really want to get that shape and just keeping the wing liner the same on both sides, like that's always where you gotta, like, you know, do your best. Of course, my liner, I can tell you right now, it ain't even, sis. It ain't even, but I did the best I could. And then for this inner portion, I'm kind of focusing on extending the lower lash line again. So how do I word this? So with the top portion of the lid, I bring it down, and then where the inner tear duct is, I connect that into the lower lash line. It's a lot, guys. I hope explaining plus seeing helps. But anyway, I'm going in with my ColourPop blush in the shade Parakeet, and then for highlight, my favorite, of course, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Omrizi highlight. And when it comes to highlighting the inner corner of the lid or the tear duct area with fox eyes, I like to focus it above where I place the liner and kind of carry it in kind of close to the nose area right there. And for anyone who may be wondering, my lashes are from ABH as well, and they're in the style Fashion. Then I'm picking up the shade Side to Side from the Sweet Talk palette. So this shade is more of like a glittery shimmer shade. So I'm kind of using this as a topper on top of all the areas where I already highlighted. So I go in with a brush at first, but then there were some parts that I felt like needed to be diffused a little bit more. So after I went in with the brush, I also used my hand to kind of finger blend everything out. And for lips, going in with the usual, the Melt Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Edible. And for today's look, I'm going in with my NYX Lingerie liquid lipstick in the shade Exotic. And every time I put on a little bit, I'm just going to keep blotting my lips together because I want to make sure that I blend the shade with the lip liner. And then to set my face, y'all know what it is, the e.l.f. Illuminating Mist and Set Spray. And another thing I've been trying is after I fan myself off for a little, I'll go in with my beauty blender, use a super light hand, and I'll gently like press into the skin in all the areas where the setting spray already went, and I'll avoid the highlight because I don't want to lift it. I'll see how this works, guys. I don't know, but I'm trying it. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye, guys.